Before you start doing your crystal layout, you want to make sure all your crystals are cleansed and programmed. Because all of my crystals are working crystals anyway, they're already pretty much programmed to their specific purposes. And when I pull them into a layout, that purpose is taken into account when I choose that particular crystal. Got a little bit of smoke going on. So I want to show you real quick how we can kind of cleanse the crystals before we do the layout. I have a spray, a crystal spray, and a room spray. This is a spray that is energetically charged, Reiki charged. I like to spray my crystals down with that, but we have to be careful of the selenite because selenite can't really be gotten wet. So we're going to set the selenite aside. And for this purpose, everybody else is safe or stabilized. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray everybody down. And this just kind of gives them a little bit of a nice energetic bath, gets them ready. And then I'm going to bring the selenite back into the mix, which couldn't get wet, of course. And the other thing that you can do to do a cleansing with them is you can use a smudge. And I have a sage smudge here. I've used Palo Santo, I've used cinnamon. It all depends on what your preference is. Incenses will work nicely too. And you just want to kind of smudge over the top. Let everybody get a little bit of a smoky bath. Okay. And what this is doing is this is setting your crystals back, not program-wise, but like cleanliness-wise, energetic-wise. It's setting them back to kind of square one. So that way when we start to use them for the layout that we're going to do today, then they're not carrying over energy from somebody else's layout or somebody else's energy work. That's an awfully smoky sage. So that's what we're doing here. Next we're going to see how the layout starts to get developed. Alright, now we're going to start building the grid, or building the layout. So you can kind of sort of see, I'll point with my toes, there's some little green squares on the floor. These are my table foot holders. This is so that I know where my perimeters are on the table. So we're going to start with a 4-point pyramid grid, which means that we're going to start in the center with a pyramid. And we're going to surround that pyramid on each of the 4 table legs, on the outside of the legs, with large point crystals. I want the terminations to point out. I don't want them coming in because I want them to bring the energy of what's happening inside of this out and up, rather than take the energy from outside in. So I'll just go around. Excuse me. I like to use naturally terminated points for this, but if you have polished or cut points that work better for you, by all means do that. I like to start at the bottom of any grid or any layout. I like to have the grounding in place. So we're going to start with our grounding here. We want to stay inside of the line of the table legs. So the first piece we set down was petrified wood. We're going to do ruby at about the root area. That's roughly the root area. Now we're going to do a linear layout for this purpose. Orange calcite, gold tiger's eye, so there's your sacral, there's your solar, where'd you go? Rhodonite, rose quartz. Okay. Solar's actually got gold and red tiger's eye. The heart has rainbow fluorite. Let's do the other one here. Rainbow fluorite, rose quartz, and rhodonite. Turquoise, pyrite, and blue tiger's eye. The throat has turquoise, pyrite, blue tiger's eye. The mouth area, which is not a chakra, but I'm going to acknowledge it for today, has red jasper and tiger's eye. The third eye has got lapis and another rainbow fluorite. Bring them up here. And then the crown has got the selenite. Okay. Now the last thing you want to do when you're doing a linear layout or a grid layout is you want to make sure that you're kind of symmetric, and you want to make sure that you are actually kind of down the center. So I'm taking a look at this. There we go. And that's much more linear and much more in line. So then the last thing that you would do with this is you would take another laser pointer, laser wand. I usually stand at the feet, and I start in the center with the laser wand. I draw out to what would be, as I'm looking at it, the top left corner, across the top right, down. Up to top right, down to bottom right, center. Bottom right, bottom left, center. Bottom left, top left, center. Spiral it up, raise that pyramid of energy, and we're ready to put the table in place. The reason we do that is because that raises the energy here. Anything we set in this space now is included in that energy. So the table, the client, the upcoming stones that we'll be placing on the client will all now be included in that energy set.
Okay, go.
So we have our crystals on the floor laid out. Now we're going to do the ones that include our client, Angela. She's our helper today. So we're going to start with black tourmaline, and we use this as a grounder. And we just set that on the table between feet. I like to start from the feet and work my way up. Keeps things nice and grounded that way. We have carnelian. We're going to place that on the root. Always be gentle when you're placing anything on the root that is a sensitive area. If you're not comfortable, ask your client to place it. Same thing with removing it. Would you like to place this one? So we're just going to place that and hope it doesn't roll too bad. Right there. We're using tangerine quartz for the sacral. And we'll talk about why I used all these stones during the class. Champagne aura quartz at the solar. And then I have two crystals that I'm going to have her hold. I have a moonstone for her left hand. And then I have a sunstone for her right hand. And then we have stones rolling all over the place. We're actually going to just set this down here and call this root for now. For the heart, we have a green aventurine. When I use my green aventurine, I really like to use my heart-shaped one. This one has the added bonus of saying abundance. I really like that. Aqua aura quartz for the throat. Now all of these that have a point to them, that are a terminated point, are going towards the head. There is a reason for that. I'll tell you about it in a little bit. Cobalt aura quartz for the third eye. And then for the last one I have an angel aura quartz or an opal aura quartz for the crown. Now remember, because we started with rooting and moved our way up, because we want the energy to flow this way, that's the other reason why the points are all going this way as well. We're keeping the energy flowing here. But we're still all within this construct that we built before with the pyramid. So it's kind of a nice dome or pyramid shaped energy construct that's going over the table right now. So it's not like this energy is all going to point and just go away, fly out into the universe, not be used. This energy is going to work, stay within the construct, recycle. Okay? So then the way that you would do a session, if you're a Reiki practitioner, you would just move right into your Reiki session. For those people who don't do Reiki or don't have any other specified traditional form of energy healing, if you just place your hands over where the crystals are, this is where I like to start at the head, and just run energy for those crystals. Or you can do it over the top. And spend a few moments at each location, at each set of crystals. Be really careful that, just like if you're doing Reiki, you don't ever want to step completely away. So if you're on a crystal and you want to move to the next one, lift one hand, then lift the other. Okay? So don't ever really leave their system and then come back in. It can be kind of a shock to their energetic system. It keeps more continuity, makes the flow nicer, keeps the energy going. Okay? And that's how you would run a session. We're going to turn the camera off now. It'll click back on for you guys quite immediately. But I'm going to go ahead and finish the session with Angela. And then I'll show you how to take all this down.
Right, go.
So I've just finished the session with Angela. And now we're going to take all the crystals off. When you put crystals on, you want to be very gentle. When you take them off, you want to be very, very gentle, because you're now removing things from an energy field that's used to them being there. We've been here for just about an hour with these crystals on her. So we start at the top, which is where we ended last time, and we remove very, very gently. Try not to pull hair. You want to move slow, smooth. Remember, this one dropped, so just gonna get that from there, and then the tourmaline. And then when you want to let your client up, some people will use a smudge or a feather sometimes to kind of break the cords between you and that person, so that you're not leaving too much of yourself with them. Sometimes when you do that, that also allows for them to kind of clear their head enough, especially if they're going to be the one that's going to be driving away. When you're working with crystals, you want to definitely make sure before they get up and go away from you, you want to make sure to look them straight in the eye and make sure that they are clear and focused, so that they don't go out and drive their car into a snowbank somewhere because they're all woo, with the crystals. So what I usually do then, if I'm going to do a crystal layout, is I just do a quick little brush off. And for me, I do this counterclockwise for the brush off, because we've been working with Reiki energy. And that kind of cleans things up as far as your client goes. In a second, we're going to look at how to clean up the rest of this. So we're going to clean up the crystals the same way that we put them down. I have all the crystals from Aunt Angela on the table right now. One of the things that we want to do is we want to deconstruct the energy, though. So we're going to start right back where we started from. We're going to go top left, center. Bottom left, bottom right, center. Bottom right, center. Top right, top left, center. We're going to do a clockwise spiral over the top to bring that energy all back down again and deconstruct. So we laid down from top to bottom, so we're going to do that. We laid down from bottom to top, sorry. So we're going to deconstruct from top to bottom. And then also with the quartz points, and I'm pulling up my little knobs for where my table legs went as well while I'm down here. Okay. And then again, like I said before, you don't want to get your selenite wet, but we can spray everybody else down. And it just kind of brings them back again, then brings them back to neutral and gets them ready for the next time. And that's how you'd set up and take down for a crystal layout session.